Welcome back to BondSTX. This is Lance, the Bargain Stock Bounty Hunter. This is where X marks the spot to get you on the top. This is week 7, February 13th through February 17th, and got another great plays of the week and a lot of good stocks to bring to the forefront this week. So again, this is my scanner where I scan stocks over the weekend with my program that I developed years and years ago. It helps me find good trending stocks. It helps me find true value. It lets me know if stocks are on sale or if they're overpriced. And so get started before I get into the plays of the week, as I normally do. Let's look at the overall market. So I like to look at the Nasdaq starting out. And so let's look at the Nasdaq and see, like I call the what I call the cake range here, in the purple is where the price wants to be. And we see the price pull into that zone definitely last week and kind of hold support there. And Friday, we see it kind of drop below, came right into where I expected it to be by Friday last week. And so expect the market to still pull back some more, just slightly. We still see the MACD pretty strong, but we see a little bit of a pullback there, pullback in the momentum as well. And we see it bust through this 5-day EMA here, which is the Williams alligator that's projected into the future. See it bust through that, doesn't hold support there. So a good sign that it may try to come down to support here this week. And so definitely some good opportunities coming into this week. And we'll see here in a little bit, Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday brought stock prices down quite a bit and make them much more reasonable from a price standpoint. So expect for Friday, the Nasdaq to be somewhere around 11,677 to 11,860. It's pretty much flat this week, but I expect some volatility Monday and Tuesday, and we'll see maybe a little bit of a pullback into Thursday, Friday. So that's my call out for the Nasdaq. And so let's look into the New York Stock Exchange as well. We'll see, looking at a 1 year, 1 day. Again, this one has been in price range, so it's been where the price wants to be. And typically what we'll see is the price wants to be in the zone. And so as it gets too far extended out of the zone, they'll want to pull back. And we see as it gets too far extended out of the zone to the downside, we'll see it want to pull up. And so what we're seeing here in the New York Stock Exchange is actually the market wanting to pull back down, right? Because it's been overextended slightly last couple of weeks. We see last week it pulled back down and resisted right onto the top of the cake band here. So we see it pull through, almost kind of supports on the 8-day EMA here. And so came right into where I expected to be Friday. Still thinking a little bit more pullback some by Friday this week. See the MACD definitely pulling back down, and the momentum definitely in a down direction. So we'll see if it'll support on the 13-day EMA. We'll definitely want to see what it does there Monday or Tuesday. If it supports on that 13-day EMA, that's a really good sign, and definitely can see a pullback up to by Friday. So almost again flat, a little bit of a pullback though this week in the New York, somewhere around the 5,986 to the 15,775. So I'm sorry, 15,586 to the 15,765. I'm sorry, let me say that one more time. 15,981 to the 15,780. So excuse me for misspeaking there, but definitely think this one can pull back down, and definitely it'll make prices a lot more reasonable. So that's where we get into the plays of the week, and we'll see definitely some price points for some big time stocks that will look very reasonable this week. And so starting off this week with Kroger at a long-term play, 1 to 3 month hold, coming at a trend of a 2, and it's 11 cents overpriced, a true value of $44.69. I think we can get in much cheaper than that with Kroger this week, based on what I just mentioned in the market coming up. So let's look at Kroger. I called Kroger out a couple times. I don't remember if I recorded the video there. I think we did back in January. We might have recorded this video, but I called it out earlier than that. But I called out at 44.23, 43.80, 43.81, 43.81. Came down, looks like, to price point on Friday of that week, and then turned around pretty quickly the next week. And it's coming in at 44.80 this week, and see a little bit of an uptick from Thursday, Friday. Looks like it wants to fractal up. See a little bit of a resistance on the 13-day EMA. And so I think at a pullback, we might get 43.84. Really good price point there. They are offering dividends this week as well, but of course you would have to have owned the stock before this week to get that dividend. But look at the MACD here. We see it really coming into a nice crossover point here. It's below the midpoint as well. And we see the momentum also crossing over the midpoint. And one of the other things I want to point out, looks like this one is already in convergence on a 1-day chart. So it's already converging, which means it's already tracking. So it means it wants to jump off track, right? So it means it doesn't want to follow the trend of the MACD and the momentum. So it's going to continue to pull that way until it wants to jump off track. But I do think this week can get in at 43.84. And then by Friday, 44.29 to the 45.47 range. This one's also extended one wave count below on the monthly. So it means it wants to be back higher than this price point here, which is 44.88. So we definitely know it's going to get above 44.88 if it gets to a 0 on the wave count. And so 43.84 is a great price point. And so I think you can get by Friday anywhere between 1 and 3.8%. So that's my call out for Kroger this week. Next on the plays of the week is Waste Management. It's a trend of a 2. It's a short-term trade opportunity, I believe. It's $1.77 overpriced, true value of $152.30. I believe we can definitely get in cheaper this week than that. In Waste Management, really good company. Haven't called this one out. So let's look at 1 year, 1 day overall. So we see Waste Management has a nice pattern here. If we look at a 1 year, 1 day, there's a low of 138.58 on 225 of last year. And we see it pull right up through the cake zone, resist support there, on the cake band here, blow past the support here on the bottom end. We see it come back to 175.98 at a high on August 18th. And we see this SMA, again, I like to use SMA, the 180-day SMA, as a kind of a trend line here to kind of show us what's going on. And you see it's relatively straight compared to a lot of the other companies we see on a week-to-week basis. And so it tells me that's a nice little pattern here that we can get in and get out. And so we see this one just recently fell below the cake band here, and we see that on February 1st on a manipulated day. And so we see a lot of manipulation here. We're looking at 3.5 million shares when it averages somewhere around 1.5 million shares. We see 3.5 million shares traded from 155.66 to a low of 148.55. We see a nice little pullback since then. Covered the manipulation here. Also see some uncovered manipulation back to January 12th at 157.27. And looks like some more uncovered manipulation here at 1.7 million shares all the way to 161 range. So a lot of opportunity here. Definitely want to go back and attack the 13-day EMA. You see it attacked here and resisted, fell through. So I think potentially 150, 115 is a great opportunity this week. It's a little bit above the cake band zone where I rather would have it cheaper than that. Don't know if it'll get there, but definitely plan to get in at 150, 115. Average down if it drops down to 149. Definitely an opportunity to get out by Friday, 152.95 to 154.85. So that's my call out this week for Waste Management. That's about 1 to 2.5% by Friday. But definitely something you can hold long term. Again, they just had an earnings call where they actually did not exceed expectations. They fell slightly short of about 9 cents on their earnings. But they definitely have a dividend coming up of 70 cents per share. So not a bad company, definitely. It's actually also on a wave count, so it's two wave counts extended below where it wants to be. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity for this one to pull back up. So like the momentum, like the MACD as well, opening up. So 150, 115 is a great price point, and I don't think you can go wrong with waste management all this week. Next on the plays of the week, coming on down the list, got Intel at a flat trend, 87 cents on sale already at $28.67 at true value. Intel, as you will see here in a second, has been beaten up pretty bad. So let's look at a 1 year, 1 day on Intel. Haven't called this one out in quite a while. I think this was probably one of the first companies I called out last year. So we'll see a high of 152, I'm sorry, of 52.51. See, it really wants to cross over that 180-day SMA, and it failed. So that was on March 30th. And ever since then, look at this. Ever since then, this one has fallen to 24.59. And that's about 51, percentage is that, it's about 51%, I believe, 52% to be exact, all the way down from March till October. And so since then, I've seen a little bit of a battle back to try to get the price point where it wants to be. Hasn't been very successful getting the price point where it wants to be, but we do see an opportunity here. We see almost like a double bottom here. We see it pump back up here. We see a lot of manipulation right on the earnings call day. So let's look, zoom in real quick. And so we see earnings call from a couple weeks back, and they did not exceed expectations by about 10 cents. And so we saw on that next day a lot of manipulation. And what it did was they pushed the price up from 27.01 to about 28.29 on 148 million shares. And that is true manipulation. And that is not where the price wanted to be. As we can see, the price wanted to be further down than that. And we see it start to pull right back down and cover that manipulation. We see it almost covered it on Friday, right? So I think it'll continue down, pull back, cover this manipulation, maybe even come down and capture manipulation from, I don't see any manipulation further back recently, but I definitely think at 26.06, it's got a progressive line going back to that low of the year. So I think at 26.06, it'll come back, touchdown, gather in a lot more investors at this point, and they'll see them pump the price right back up to get out somewhere around 26.54 to 27.99 this week. Definitely long term. See how close it is to wanting to attack the SMA. So I think long term you can definitely hold this one. By Friday, anywhere between 1.8 to 7% by Friday. 26.06 is a heck of a price for Intel, seeing what we've seen recently with the price action. So that's where I'm going in with Intel this week at 26.06. And then next on the list, another one moving at a flat trend, I believe, or is it under trend? Okay, this one's moving at 2 wavelengths on the weekly under trend. And so we see 96 cents on sale, $11.27 true value. So let's look at NIO. So NIO is a Japanese automotive company that has caught a lot of hype over the last couple of years. It's been beaten up pretty bad as well. And we've called this one out quite a bit. I'm not going to go back to all the call outs that I've done on NIO the last couple of years, but we see him I called it out back in February, called it out back in March. And we see, again, this one has been really, really pushing to attack the SMA and cross over. We see a strong resistance on SMA in September 15th, and it hit a low of 838. So on a high of the last year, we see 26.27 drop down to 838. I mean, that's a heck of a drop for one stock. And so we're seeing 62 and a 1/4% drop. And then since then, a lot of battling back and forth. We see a lot of manipulation, a lot of volume trying to come back in, buying in at really, really low prices. It's on a wave count on a quarter of extended 2 wavelengths below where it wants to be. Again, you can see where the price wants to be up here. You can see where it is. It's way down below. And so, again, it's wanting to attack the SMA, and we see constant resistance on that attack. And we see the manipulation to the downside on 124, and we see coverage coming back to the manipulation from 1.6. And so I think by Friday, definitely could get in at 94.41. I've had my alert set here for quite a while. I called it out at $9.41 back in November. Did not come down to price. We see it push through the true value and definitely pumped up pretty strong. So definitely want to come in and capitalize on 941. We can get there again this week. Like what I'm seeing in the MACD and the momentum. So 941 by Friday, or holding even longer, I think you can get pretty good here. But at 1008 by Friday, at 6.5%, or can get out around 1088, which is about 15% by Friday. So really good percentage opportunities for NIO this week. So that's my call out for NIO is 941. Next on the list, trending downward as well, slightly downward, is Johnson & Johnson. $3.03 on sale at $165.18 true value. So let's look at Johnson & Johnson, a pretty big company here. Everyone pretty familiar with Johnson & Johnson products. If you're not, I'm pretty sure if you go around your house, you will find some products of Johnson & Johnson. So let's look at the 1 year, 1 day here. I did call this one out back in September 28th. Let's go through a 1 year, 1 day. See a 155.72 low on February 24th of last year. Quickly turned around in a few days, hit a high of 186.69, 17.6% change pretty quickly in a few days. And so since then, we've seen this one really bounce through what I call, again, the cake range here, these purple lines. So it's really staying where it wants to be as far as price-wise. Call this one out, 928 week. Definitely had a great price point here at 163.35. Actually came down to price that Friday. And you see just in a matter of a few days, this one turned around, well, 30 days to be exact, about 7%. And then it kept pushing up for the next couple months. And so we see a nice little pullback here, nice little crossover on the MACD, nice momentum pullback. And this one's actually have a wavelength of 0. So this one could go either way as far as to the -1 downside or to the +1 upside. But I think at 161.11, underneath the cake zone here is a great opportunity to capture and start a position in Johnson & Johnson. Average down if you need to, but if we see look back into the near, I guess in the near recent history here, as it comes down below the cake zone, we see investors really buy this one back up at higher prices. We saw it happen again back in October. We saw it happen in February. And now here's another opportunity here to get this one pretty cheap and see this one turn around. And again, long term, you can hold this one, and probably in a matter of months, you're looking at about 11% at this point. So 161.11 is my call out for Johnson & Johnson this week. And next on the list, again, 3M. It's the third week in a row. I'm calling out 3M. It's great opportunities, continuing opportunities in 3M. -2 trend down this week. And then we've got $2.84 on sale at $116.72 true value. So again, 3M is definitely a great opportunity to get in here. Haven't been successful myself getting in on 3M, although it did come to my price point. Last week, I'd already jumped into a couple other stocks. And so let's look at this one really closely. Just show you how close I've been to getting this price just right here. And so I called them out at 2 weeks ago at 112.22, came down to 112.38, immediately turned around and came right back to where I expected to be Friday. Then last week, saw it come down to 112.89 a couple of times. It even fell below slightly after hours or pre-market hours here on Friday. And then we see it turn around again. And so I think this week at 112.26, like what I'm seeing here again, and this is looking at looking at the 30-minute chart on the 10-day, see a cross down on the MACD, a little pullback on the momentum, definitely some opportunity to come in support here. Let's back out to the 1-year, 1-day again. And so this one again is extended on a -2 wave count. So great opportunities. It's really cheap. It's been cheap. I think we can get in a little cheaper again this week at 112.21. They are dishing out $1.50 on dividends. So if you've been lucky to get in on 3M in the last few weeks, hats off to you. Definitely see the MACD crossing over, and a great opportunity here. Momentum pushing up. So definitely feel this one's going to bounce up off of 112.21. So you're looking at by Friday, 113.74 or 116.48, anywhere between 3.8 and 1% gain by Friday. But definitely you can hold this one quite a bit longer. It's going to attack the SMA again and cross over at some point. And you're looking at somewhere between 10%. Once it hits the cake zone, you're looking at about 14%. So a lot of great opportunity here with 3M. It's going to be hard to get in at these cheap prices in the near future. So get in while you can. That's my call outs for this week. Thank you for joining me. I'm not going to do any like it, love it, lose it this week. But keep sharing the videos. I appreciate all the new subscribers. And if you like technical analysis or know someone else that does, please like, share, and subscribe. And again, I appreciate you joining me, and good luck trading this week.